What if you could get a premium smart lock experience without paying a premium smart lock price? This smart lock packs in features you'd expect from locks twice its price. And after testing it, I was honestly surprised what you're getting for your money. So before you overspend on your smart lock, you'll want to see this video. This is the Aqara U50 Smart Lock. And as you can see here, it looks like a premium smart lock. And the price is just a little over $100. This makes it almost a no-brainer. There are 10 different ways you can unlock this lock, and you may have noticed one common one missing. I'll talk about it a little bit later and explain why it may not be that big of a deal. Now, when we talk about door locks, we talk about security, and that's important. This smart lock is BMHA Level 3 certified, and that is designed for residential use, which means it can withstand over 200,000 lock cycles. The cool thing is Aqara made it possible for you to replace the lock cylinder in this lock if you need to, or if you want to, I guess. Now, installing and setting this lock up is pretty straightforward. Now, I'm not going to show you from start to finish. I will show you, I have half of my old lock removed. I had a smart lock in there already, and it doesn't really show you exactly how to remove an old lock that's in there. So just bear with me on this. So most standard locks have two screws on the inside knob. You'll want to unscrew those two screws, and this will allow you to pull the two halves apart from the door. Then you'll have the deadbolt you'll want to remove. You'll have two screws in the door on the side. Once you unscrew those small two screws, then you can pull the old deadbolt out. You'll also have a striker plate on the door frame, and there's two screws there, and you'll remove that. Now, as far as installing the new one, you're going to install a new deadbolt into the door. Now, Aqara provided multiple options in the box for installation. They gave you two different striker plates, and they also gave you two different deadbolt plates on the actual deadbolt, and they both interchange. There's a squared off one, and then there's also a rounded off cover. Both of these will fill the spot, and you want to use the one that fills the spot the best. So to install the deadbolt, you'll want to use there's text on the top that says top. So you want to use that on the top, obviously, and you'll slide it into the door, and then you'll use the two screws to screw the cover on into the deadbolt. On the striker plate, it's in the door frame, and then obviously you'll pick whichever squared off or rounded edge, and then you'll use the two screws, the longer screws, to screw the striker plate onto the door frame. Now comes to installing the actual lock. You have the keypad and the mounting plate on the back side. So when you have the keypad in your hand, there is a locking mechanism. It's flat, and you'll slide that through the deadbolt in the door. There is a little kind of a little nipple on it, or what do you call it, a little ridge on it on the top side that slides one way into the deadbolt, and you'll look at the deadbolt to see that. And when you slide that through, you'll also slide the cord that goes from the keypad to the actual brains inside. You'll slide that underneath the deadbolt. Once you get that in there, it will hold it in place just a little bit. So then you have a mounting bracket on the inside that you'll mount. So you'll take these two bolts that they give you. Well, they give you 4 different bolts, 2 different lengths. This depends on the size of the door or the thickness of the door that you have. Most doors, you're going to use the smaller or the shorter ones. That's what I used. But if your door is thicker, you might need the longer ones. So what you're going to do is you're basically going to thread these bolts through the back plate and then screw them in by hand as tight as you can into the actual front or the keypad. So once they're in there, then you'll want to make sure that the keypad is lined up, straight up and down, like level, as well as making sure that the inside mounting plate is level, and then that will give you the key to move forward and tighten those 2 bolts. So once you get those tightened down and ready to go, then you can get the brains of the unit, and you can slide this onto the mounting plate. Well, before you do that, you want to connect the connector onto the back plate here, and it's underneath the rubber flap here. So once you connect it in there, then you'll slide the excess wire into the deadbolt area, and then this thing just kind of slides onto the mounting bracket. Once it's on the mounting bracket, you'll use 2 screws. They're very small black screws, and you'll use these screws to screw the back plate onto the mounting plate, and it goes through the lock. And you'll notice that the lock doesn't have the actual plastic piece onto it. So you can actually, you'll see 2 holes there. And once you get those tight, you're ready to go. Now you can actually put the finishing part of the turning mechanism. And then you got to take the backing plate off so that way you can get to the batteries. You'll also get to the batteries through the backing plate, as well as there's a setup button and I think a reset button, and then also one that you can use to connect to your HomeKit. To get this back plate off, it was kind of more complicated than it needed to be. Or maybe I made it more complicated than it needed to be. So what you're going to do at the very bottom, there's a little place to put your fingernails into, or like flathead, and you'll just pull out on it and it'll come off. So once you put the batteries in, it will start up the lock, and you're ready to get this thing paired in your Aqara app on your phone. And basically simply go into the Aqara app on your phone once the batteries are in place, and then you'll find that lock to add it in. And then it's basically going to find it via Bluetooth. And then once it finds it there, it's going to give you, I think it's a 6 or 8 digit code on your phone. And then you go and type that into the lock. Once you type it in, it basically, the lock tells the phone, hey, we're good to pair, and it pairs it on up. Once it pairs it up, then you're going to set your first user, which is going to be you or an admin user, and a passcode. And that's your first setup. And then from there, you can set up all the other stuff, the other users, whatever it needs to be, all the different settings. You're ready to go there. So now a little bit more about this lock. What I really like is the Smart Lock is a sleek design. It's a satin finish with a squared off design. It's more of a modern look in my eyes. The numbers light up when you need them, and then they don't leave behind fingerprints or smudges, which is really nice. The last thing you want to do on a passcode thing is for it to leave smudges. The locking mechanism is very smooth when it comes to locking and unlocking manually. And since it's battery powered, it does have a USB plug on the bottom just in case the batteries are dead. If the batteries are dead and you're trying to get into your house, you're not going to be able to get into your house using the keypad unless you have a USB power, like a power port. You use the USB-C power port on the bottom, and then you connect it with the battery bank. And then you can power it real quick, so that way you can go ahead and either use your phone to unlock it, or passcode, or whatever device you need. This is just in case you don't have the physical keys. But let's be honest, any smart lock I've ever had, I've never used the physical keys unless I'm just reviewing it. So this just helps get you in the house if, for whatever reason, the batteries die on the smart lock. It will warn you if the batteries are about to die, but if you went on vacation for a while and you come back and the batteries are dead, or if you ignored that notification, at least you'll have a capability of getting into your house, and you're not stuck paying a locksmith or breaking into your own house. Now, there are many ways to unlock this lock. You can use the Aqara app via Bluetooth. You can use the keypad, and there's a number of different ways you can use the keypad. You can use this as a standard code that's set for you as a user. You can use a one-time use code, or you can use a scheduled door code. Basically, the scheduled door code, you can set up a schedule like, hey, this door code's only going to work on Fridays between this time and this time. Maybe it's for a cleaning person or someone that's going to be using your house real quick. One-time code is basically burn after use. So if you have someone coming through, maybe you have a neighbor that needs to put some packages in your house when you're out of town, you can give them a one-time code. And once they use it, they can no longer use it again. So also, you can use an NFC card. You can use the auto-locking function through the app. It has physical keys. To get to the physical keys portion, you have to slide down. There's a little cover on the front, and you slide it down, and then you can get to the physical keys section. You can use Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, HomeKit, and Siri. You can use your iPhone with HomeKey, as well as your Apple Watch with HomeKey. You can also use other MatterBridge apps. So one thing to keep in mind, some of these features require more than just the lock to function. You can unlock using the app and use all the app features if you're within Bluetooth range. But if you want to unlock or lock via the app and you're away from the home, you're going to need the hub to connect to the internet. So you can use one home key or one phone for Apple HomeKey without a hub. But if you want to use more than one, say you want to give one for your wife or your kids or all your family members, you're going to have to get an Apple home hub of some sort for Apple or for HomeKit. Now, a hub is not needed for this lock to function, but it does expand your capabilities quite a bit. So here are my final thoughts. I personally like the looks of the Aqara U50 Smart Lock. I think it has a sleek and modern look to it. The satin black color helps hide the fingerprints and smudges. I like the price of this lock as it's easy to recommend to people who are looking for something that's easy to secure their home and a smart lock for their home, make it easy for them to use. Being able to use an Apple Home key is really nice, as most people have iPhones, and all you have to do is walk up to the lock with your phone out, tap the phone to the lock, and it automatically unlocks. And you don't have to remember a passcode, you don't have to use your fingerprint, you just use your phone. And everybody has their phone with them at most times. I realize that this specific lock lacks a fingerprint reader, but in reality, there are a lot of things that can go wrong when it comes to fingerprint readers. Your fingers can be dirty. Sometimes, I work with my fingers quite a bit, or my hands, and let's be honest, like working with wood or working with metal, your fingerprints can get messed up, and it makes it tough for it to read it. Or it's just sometimes it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Now, Apple's Home Key and the NFC capabilities help solve this issue, as well as the passcode. There are quite a few different automations you can do in conjunction with a Aqara lock, and it's super nice and a peace of mind when it comes to keeping your home locked and secured. If you found this video helpful, please leave me a like and feel free to ask any questions down in the comment section below. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing for more tech reviews, home automation, home and automotive how-to videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.